there, and welcome back to part 3 of our 1/1000 scale TOS Enterprise build. Today we'll be going over LEDs more extensively, working with the breadboard, and some of the wiring I'll be doing in this kit. So stay tuned, and we'll get right to it. Alright, first off, we're going to go into more detail on LEDs. Now there's different ways of wiring up LEDs. You can go single, you can go in series or in parallel. First off, the easiest one is the single, where you're using one resistor and one LED. Now I'll show you a schematic of that here in a minute. If you're using the app that I gave you guys in the last video, this will be an example of what it will show you. It'll ask for your voltage, for your VIN. It'll ask for forward current, which will be 3.2 in this case. For our voltage we're using on this build will be 12. And for your milliamps, which is 20. And it'll come up with the resistor we're going to be using, which is a 470. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. Computer, pull up the LED resistor schematic.
Enter authorization code.
Shannon, Alpha 91011.
Command codes verified.
Here you go.
Accessing library computer data.
Alright, now that you've seen that, you also can wire your LEDs, like I said, in series or in parallel. Now there's advantages and disadvantages to this. If you run your LEDs in series, you're only going to get a certain amount of LEDs. In this case with 3.2 LED, which are commonly white, I'm only going to be able to run 4 of them with the voltage. And if I run 4 LEDs, I won't have to use a resistor, because I'm maximizing that amount of voltage to all of them. So with that though, you're wiring the LED from one to another to another. Now if you run them in parallel, you're running the resistor to all the positive links, obviously, and then you've got to run negative to all of them. So you're going to use a lot more wire, but you can actually end up getting more resistor or more LEDs on one resistor. So it depends on what you need for your build and what you're doing, and I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like too. Computer, pull up the rest of the resistor LED schematics.
Linkage complete. Transfer complete.
Alright, now that you've seen all that, now let's say I want to play around with the brightness of the LED. Now you never want to go lower than the recommended number. In this case, a 470, I don't want to put a 300 in it. What will happen is I'll burn the LED out and it won't work. You know, you'll destroy the diode that's in it. So you don't want to go any lower than the recommended amount. Now, but you can go higher. And you might be thinking, why would I want to do that? Well, I'm going to show you here on the breadboard, and this is what's nice about having them, is you can play around with the brightness of the LED. Now with the 470 LED or 470 resistor, the LED will be at its max brightness. Now maybe I don't need it as bright in a particular part of my build, and I want to kind of dim that down. So with this resistor, I've got a 1K or a 10K resistor, my bad. I've got a 10K resistor, so it's going to dim this LED down. And I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So we're going to hook up our 470 first. As you see, that's pretty bright. Now, like I said, this is a 10K resistor. I'm going to hook it up. And you notice it's considerably dimmer. Now say you just don't want something this bright in your build and you want it just a little bit dimmer, you can play around with the resistor to get how bright you want it. Like I said, you never want to go any lower than what the recommended resistor amount is. If you do, you take the chance of damaging your diode and burning the LED out. But you can always go higher. And what happens is it actually lasts longer. The LED will last longer, and it doesn't cause any damage to it. And you can resist this down to all the way until it's really, really, really dim. So, unplug all this again. It's kind of blinding. So with that, you get an idea that you can play around with the brightness of your LED. And that's what's really nice about having one of these breadboards. You can get these at any local electronics store, online. And depending on what kind you get, they can range from anywhere from $50 to $10. So for this starting out, I would suggest getting a cheaper one. It won't cost you a whole lot, but they are really nice to have. I use mine all the time for whatever build I'm doing and whatnot. Now also we have LED tape, and LED tape is really nice because you don't have to hook up any resistors to it. I'm going to show you guys. It's got sections here that a little scissor mark where you cut it, and you can have little 3-piece sections, or you can do it in bigger sections, 6-piece. You have 6 LEDs on this, but all you do, it's got little soldering points. You solder your wires to it. Obviously it's got plus and minus on there, so there's no guessing, and you've got instant LED light. So depending on where, what particular build you're doing, these are really nice to have. A great place to get LEDs at, go to Modeler brand. He's got really, really good stuff. I would suggest going and checking him out. He's got LED packs that have different shapes of LEDs and stuff. He's got a great selection of LED tape. So it'd be worth checking it out. I'll put his website down here at the bottom. Go look at that. Might get you started on it. Alright, now we're going to wire up some LEDs for the main body here. Now you see I've already got my 2 main wires for my positive and negative ran through my tube already. And we're going to put an LED back here, one here to go up into the neck, and one up here. That's probably overkill, but doing it this way, I'm going to run 4 LEDs in series, and I don't have to use a resistor. So that's kind of nice. Now you might be wondering what this is. This is what they call a set of helping hands, and these are awesome. And I'll show you what we do here with them. Now, like you've seen in that schematic, always make sure you attach your resistor to the positive side, which will always be the longer stem, or inside the diode you look, it'll be the little short piece. But in this case, I'm going to clip this off, because this is where I'm going to start. Oh, it's always nice to have like a little pair of wire cutters. Put these up there. They'll hold the LED when you go to solder it. Now the wire we'll be using is magnet wire. And this stuff is super, super, super thin. And I love it. Absolutely love this stuff. You can get into those little tight spaces with it. It bends anywhere you want. It's just great stuff to use in models. So what we're going to do here is because I know I'm probably going to start the LEDs right over here, or I can start it on this side. Let's see here. We'll start it over here. So the first wire, kind of measure it. And if you got a little extra, it's alright. I'm going to put the wire here in the helping hand so I don't have to worry about it. I use a 6040 resin core solder. Stuff works great for what I do here. Love the stuff. And get yourself a good soldering iron. And what's nice about this wire is it'll melt the sheathing off. All you gotta do is just heat it up, put a little solder on it, and it melts the sheathing right off. And you've got a wire that's ready to be soldered on. So, position that so I can put my wire onto it. So now if I was using just like I showed in the demonstration, I was using a resistor with this, I would put the resistor on here first and then the wire, or as long as the resistor is anywhere from the power side to the LED. But in this case, like I said, we're going to run it in series, 4 LEDs. I don't need a resistor. Nice bead on there. And there we go. So, since this is the positive side, this will be the side I run from there to my deal. Now I wanted to put an LED here. So, we're going to clip off this other side now. Measure a wire back to that point. It's going to be a little shorter. And just keep doing this and repeat the steps. Now, when you do that, just like in that diagram, I'm going from the negative side on this one to the positive side on this one. Alright, now that we got that all done, if you have this like this, we can always check this now with our breadboard. Bring this back over. And I've got neat little alligator clips on mine so I can do this. Oh, actually, hold on. We'll put this back up here. We'll see if it works. As you see, I've got power. They all light up. So now we've done that. What I will do is hook these up to our main wires. because I'm going to have other wires connected onto this, so that's why I gave myself just a little extra wire if I needed it. Now if you want to make sure your connection's good, we can always check them. And with this, you're not going to damage the LED. If it's wired up wrong, it just won't work. Or I should say, if you put like the positive to the negative to positive, it'll only work one way. So if you see, nothing. Got nothing there. Show you a little better here. LED's not working. Alright. So let's switch these. And ta-da! They all light up. So, we have good connection there. Alright, now we're going to put in the LEDs. We're going to use hot glue to put them down. It's the easiest stuff to use. I mean, if you wanted to, you could use a CA glue or a super glue. I like using hot glue. It's quick, it's fast, and it's easy. So we'll get these hot glued in here now. Alright, now we're going to hot glue these LEDs in. And I'm going to start off with the one here at the neck, because that's going to be the most critical one, because this one is going to shine the light up into the neck. So this will be the one I will start off with. A little dab there. So let's just want it right in the middle, if possible, of the deal. Because like I said, this is going to be shining up in the neck, and it's real critical. Alright, we are done. So like always, we can go ahead and test this out and make sure everything works alright. Bring over my breadboard. I can just do these connections here. Oh, come on now, there we go. And there we go. We have light. I'll go ahead and we'll, if you remember, we cut out this little groove right here so these wires would have a place to sit. Like so. And then take out all this. You get all the little stringies from using hot glue and stuff. Clean that all up. And then I still got room for my negative and positive. So I'm going to have to run 2 wires down from the neck to run that and stuff. So we'll go ahead and we'll show you what's going on with the rest of the build. I've already put in some of the LEDs and that. We'll show you what that looks like. Alright, we'll show you what we got here with the neck and the warp cells. Or the saucer section, I mean. And as you see, we've already got some stuff lit up. I've got 4 LEDs running, you can't really see this one, running along the outside to light up the windows. I've got 2 LEDs, white LEDs running so it'll light up these windows, and 2 LEDs here. And actually what happens is these 2 light up the top part and these 2 light up the bottom part. You also see I've got an LED here, but I'm running fiber optics through to these back engines. And it's a red LED, and that'll light up the 2 little spots here that I've taped off. I know you probably can't see it real well, but I've taped off 2 little spots back there. And when I take the tape off, I'll use probably a red paint, like a see-through paint, so it'll light up that a little bit better. And then you see on here on the outside, get it turned around, I've got these 2 black spots here, and what those are the red and green lights. And I decided to go ahead and I put another chipboard on this one that'll run the Bassard collectors. And what this will do, it's just a 555 chip. It'll make my running lights blink. So I wanted to show that you can do almost anything. Even though this model is kind of small and it's a snap together, you can do a lot with it. And if you do that, you know, I put a green LED in here and a red one on the other side, and I don't want that light to shine through anywhere else. So what I did was hot glued it in, and then I used super glue or CA glue and kind of filled in the spots, and then I painted it all black except for the tips where the light will shine through. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you what that looks like. So as you can see, this looks awesome. I like how it looks. I'll show you later on what it looks like when it blinks. I don't have the board hooked up to it right now. So now I'll show you, if you've seen a little bit, I'll show you what the lighting on the windows looks like. It looks really good as well. Alright, so I'll put this over to the side. Now I'll show you what our inside of our ship looks like with the LEDs we put in and how it looks like in the neck. Now, as you see, I've got the warp engines done. I've got a blue LED back here, and if you look, I've got black paint around the back side of the LED so no blue light shines through. It'll also help a little bit when I go to seal this up at the very end. I won't get as much light shining through, and I'll have to, you know, bondo this edge so I won't get any light bleed, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I'll show you what these the back end of the warp nacelles look like with the ball all lit up. Looks really good. Show you that real quick. As you see, it looks awesome. It's white when it's off, and then when it turns on, it's got this nice blue color to it. It looks really good. I like that. I know the original one on the TV series didn't have that, but it just looks so cool. You also look, got a mess of wires coming through here, and all this is just to run, you know, the Bassard collectors. Now I changed it up after talking to you guys last time. You know, I talked about those RBG lights those red, blue, green ones. And I thought that looked so cool, and I was so torn on whether to put those lights in this build or keep, you know, the flashing red and yellow ones. And it was such a tough call, and I really liked that, you know, kind of hint of color that was in there, because, you know, in the original series, you seen the deal, they were almost a rainbow color. They had all kinds of colors in them. So what I ended up doing after our last episode is I drilled a hole right through the middle of all those LEDs and was real careful not to hit any of them or hit any of the diode posts. And I was able to put one RBG up through the middle where it's barely coming out of the piece of styrene I made. So it gets this really neat kind of splash of color here and there. And I'll go ahead and show you what the updated design looks like. And it just, to me, that looks so cool. Now, as you see, I've got this mess of wires coming out here, and I've already got them. Something when you do this that'll help, I've got them already labeled up. Also, when I go to put on the other half here, as you notice, these wires aren't moving. And this is what makes magnet wires so great, is I've got 6 wires packed down into that. And if you look, they're almost level with the channel I dug in. So this channel is almost overkill. But I'm really, you know, I used CA glue, glued them down, held them into place, and now I don't have to worry about them moving around. So when I go to put this on there, it'll seal down. I don't have to fight with wires or anything like that. All this is glued into place on both sides. So it looks really good. Alright, so when we come back in the next episode, we're going to be using putty and filling up our seams and stuff so we don't get any light bleed where all the cracks are. We'll also be seaming up, you know, since this is 2 pieces, you're going to end up with a seam along the side. We're going to seam that, seam the warp nacelles, the main body, the saucer section, and I'll show you the tips and tricks of what I've learned of how to do seams, and so you don't have to do as much sanding and stuff like that. So a lot more to come, but we're getting close to being done. Also, if you guys wondered or noticed, I've painted the main body just a little bit. I wanted to see what it looked like, and if you wonder what color that is, it's a light gray. It's actually Model Master's light gray, and then I put a little bit of airbrush thinner in it so that I could run it in my airbrush. Really like that. To me, it come out absolutely perfect. Was the color I was looking for. I didn't really have to doctor it up or anything, so it come out perfect. So, until next time, if you guys have any questions or comments, you can hit me up at my email. It's starshipwonders@gmail.com, or you can catch me on Facebook at Starship Wonders. So until next time, have fun and keep modeling. Transporter room, one to beam up.